Cricket has always been a game of controlled risk, a balance between bat and ball.
Oh, look, there goes the crack.
Between uncertainty and fairness. Swing is expected, seam is respected, spin is admired, but danger is never meant to be part of the equation. A pitch is supposed to challenge technique, temperament, and patience.
A bit more green on top.
It's a little bit soft on top.
We got to feel first.
And we're going to have a bowl.
It is not meant to threaten careers. It is not meant to test bravery instead of skill. Yet, throughout modern cricket, there have been moments when surfaces crossed that invisible line.
Really effective. Just look how wide they are.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Oh, look, there goes the crack.
Moments when batsmen were no longer beaten by bowlers, but by the ground beneath their feet. These were not just difficult pitches. They were unpredictable, uneven, hostile. On these surfaces, experience offered no protection, technique offered no guarantees, and survival became the only goal. Number 1. Melbourne 2025, Australia versus England. The Boxing Day test is sacred. It is a tradition. It is a theater.
We've seen so many special moments over the years, but when the 94,199 fans rolled in today,
flat enough to score runs, lively enough to reward discipline, predictable enough to let skill decide the contest. But in 2025, the MCG betrayed that identity. From the opening overs, something felt wrong. Fast bowlers didn't need to search for movement, the surface did the work for them. A good length delivery reared violently, smashing into gloves and helmets. The next ball from the same spot stayed low, sliding beneath defensive bats. Batsmen froze at the crease, footwork became hesitant, judgment disappeared. England's top order didn't look technically exposed, they looked confused. They were caught between front foot and back foot, between ducking and defending. Close infielders were forced to wear helmets unusually early. Short leg crouched deeper than normal. Slips flinched instinctively, bracing for sharp chances that arrived without warning. By the second session, bowlers stopped planning sequences. They bowled to areas, not batsmen, letting the pitch decide who survived. Wickets fell not through brilliance, but through uncertainty. Edges flew, pads twisted awkwardly, batsmen walked off shaking their heads. 36 wickets fell in just 2 days. The ICC later rated the pitch unsatisfactory, a rare and damning assessment for the MCG, a venue that once symbolized balance had become a hazard. The Boxing Day test wasn't remembered for skill or strategy, it was remembered for survival. Number 2. Indore 2023, India versus Australia. The Indore pitch didn't hide its intentions. From the first over, the surface looked dry, abrasive, and unstable. The ball didn't just turn, it behaved erratically. One delivery spun sharply past the outside edge, the next skidded straight on. Another bounced sharply from the same length. India were bowled out to 109. Australia followed and lost 6 wickets before lunch on day 2. No batsman ever looked settled. Forward defense was a gamble. Back foot play was equally dangerous. Spinners didn't need variations. They didn't need drift or dip. They simply needed to land the ball on a length and let the pitch do the rest. Edges dropped short of slip, others flew dangerously. Pads were struck awkwardly as bounce refused to behave. The match ended inside 2.5 days. Fans argued whether it was skill or luck. Experts debated preparation. But the ICC verdict was clear. The pitch was rated poor. Indore became a reminder that when surfaces dominate too much, the contest disappears entirely. Number 3. Durban 2019, South Africa versus Sri Lanka. Kingsmead has always been known for movement. Seamers expect help here, batsmen expect a challenge. But this surface crossed into unpredictability. From a normal length, balls jagged sharply, others climbed violently, some stayed alarmingly low. Batsmen misjudged bounce repeatedly, solid techniques failed, defensive shots resulted in awkward edges and body blows. Bowlers barely needed to adjust, they bowled full enough to threaten the stumps and trusted the surface. Fielders stayed alert, half expecting freak deflections. Close catchers barely reacted, instinct took over. The match raced forward, not because teams attacked, but because no one could settle. By day 3, the outcome felt inevitable. The surface had stripped away balance. Kingsmead didn't reward skill, it rewarded endurance. Number 4. Johannesburg, 2018, South Africa versus India. Johannesburg is famous for bounce. Fast bowlers thrive here. Batsmen prepare for steep lift. But in 2018, the Wanderers delivered something different. Balls from a good length climbed chest high. Others jagged sharply off the seam. Batsmen were struck repeatedly, on gloves, on forearms, on helmets. Medical staff were constantly visible near the boundary. Concussions became a real concern. On day 3, umpires halted play. Captains were called together. Match officials discussed player safety, a rare and serious moment in Test cricket. The game only resumed after both teams agreed to continue. India eventually won, but there were no celebrations. The ICC rated the pitch poor. Johannesburg had crossed from challenging into dangerous. Number 5. Barbados, 2018. West Indies versus Sri Lanka. Kensington Oval has always carried history. Fast outfields, true bounce, a surface that rewards stroke play and disciplined bowling. But on the morning of June 1, 2018, something felt wrong before a single ball was bowled. Cracks were already visible during the warm-ups, not hairline fractures that appear late in a test, but deep, widening splits that suggested instability beneath the surface. From the very first over, the pitch announced its intentions. A good-length delivery from Shannon Gabriel climbed sharply, smashing into the gloves of the batsman. The very next ball, from the same spot, stayed alarmingly low and thudded into the pads. Batsmen froze. Footwork disappeared. The front foot hesitated. The back foot was equally dangerous. Short balls were not just rising, they were leaping unpredictably. Full balls didn't skid consistently. Nothing behaved the same way twice. Close-in fielders were forced to adjust almost immediately. Short leg wore a helmet from the first session. Silly point crouched deeper than normal, aware that edges could fly at any moment. As the session progressed, the danger escalated. Batsmen were struck repeatedly, on the ribs, on the forearms, on the gloves. Each blow was followed by long pauses. Physios entered the field more frequently than usual. Conversations between umpires grew longer. By the second session, survival replaced scoring entirely. No one looked to dominate. They simply tried to stay upright. Then came the moment that changed cricket history. After just 62 overs, umpires halted play permanently. Not for rain, not for bad light, for danger. Players were called off. Match officials inspected the surface. The cracks had widened further. The verdict was unavoidable. The test match was abandoned on day 1. It was the first time in the modern era that a test had been called off purely because the pitch was unsafe. The ICC later rated the pitch dangerous. The venue faced sanctions, and Barbados became a global warning. When a pitch loses control within a single day, the contract between ground and game is completely broken. Number 6. Hobart, 2010. Australia versus England. Bellerive Oval promised pace, movement, and bounce. That was expected. What followed was not. From the opening spells, the pitch offered inconsistent bounce rather than raw speed. Balls climbed steeply from good length. Others stopped abruptly, forcing batsmen into awkward defensive positions. England's top order never looked settled, not because of poor technique, but because judgment became impossible. Should they play forward, the ball might leap. Should they stay back, the ball might die. That hesitation proved fatal. Edges flew to the slips without warning. Defensive shots popped off gloves. Batters were struck high on the body far too often for comfort. Australia's bowlers quickly realized they didn't need elaborate plans. They bowled heavy lengths and let the pitch manufacture opportunities. Close catchers stayed alert throughout, not because of swing or seam, but because of unpredictability. Even seasoned Ashes players looked uneasy. They played with bent knees, late hands, and guarded footwork. The match moved rapidly, not through aggressive intent, but through collapse after collapse. Critics later debated whether the surface was dangerous or merely unreliable, but in Test cricket, unreliability is its own form of danger. When batsmen cannot trust bounce, confidence evaporates, and when confidence goes, technique soon follows. Hobart didn't host many tests after that.
Number 7. Delhi 2009, India versus Sri Lanka. ODIs are meant to be controlled chaos, fast scoring, calculated risks, minimal danger. This match shattered that assumption. From the early overs, the pitch behaved erratically. Short balls climbed steeply. Good length deliveries stayed ankle low. Batsmen struggled to judge anything. Timing vanished. Shot selection collapsed. Fielders reacted late because they couldn't predict bounce. Wicketkeepers stayed deeper than usual. Slips wore helmets, an unusual sight in an ODI. As the innings progressed, the danger intensified. One delivery struck a batsman high on the helmet, another rolled through beneath the bat moments later. The inconsistency was impossible to ignore. After 23.3 overs, umpires intervened. Players were taken off the field. Match officials inspected the surface. The uneven hardness and crumbling patches told the story. The match was abandoned. The consequences were severe. The stadium was banned from hosting international cricket for a year, a rare punishment and a public acknowledgement that the surface had failed. In a format designed for entertainment, safety had been compromised, and that line cannot be crossed. Number 8. Kanpur, 2008, India versus South Africa. Kanpur was expected to turn. That was never the issue. What shocked everyone was how unevenly it turned. From early day one, the pitch showed signs of deterioration, not gradual wear, but rapid breakdown. Balls from identical spots behaved completely differently. Some spun sharply, others shot straight on. A few bounced awkwardly, striking gloves and pads unexpectedly. Batsmen couldn't settle into defensive rhythm. Forward defense became a gamble. Back foot play carried its own risks. Spinners didn't need deception. They bowled stock deliveries and waited. Edges came off inside and outside. Pads twisted under awkward bounce. Batters were beaten without being outplayed. The match raced forward. By day 3, it was over. The ICC rated the pitch poor, a diplomatic term for a surface that offered too much too soon. Kanpur joined a growing list of venues where the pitch dictated outcomes more than players. Across continents, formats, and conditions, the pattern is unmistakable. Dangerous pitches don't announce themselves, they escalate quietly. Scoring slows, wickets fall quickly, fear replaces confidence. When the surface becomes the opponent, cricket loses its balance. A pitch should challenge skill, not threaten safety. When that line is crossed, the game stops being a contest, and history never forgets those surfaces.